Hello everyone, I'm Yashika Chopra. In this video, we'll dive into analysis of two corporate collapses, Enron and the Wall Street, as depicted in the movies Untouchables and The Smartest Guy in the Room. So we'll discuss how accountability and leadership failed within these organizations, keeping in mind the servant leadership framework. I'll also share analysis of my employer and how result-based leadership can be practically applied. Let's get started. First, let's talk about leadership failures of Enron and Wall Street, both from corporate and government perspective. In Enron, executives like Jeffrey and Kenneth showed little accountability. They manipulated the financial records and celebrated profits over integrity. Instead of focusing on well-being of employees, their focus was just on profits, and that was not a model of servant leadership. Wall Street too, leadership showed a similar path. They just focused on short-term goals without thinking about the long-term impact. In both the organizations, there was a failure in accountability both internally and externally. As an evidence for Enron, the use of off-the-books partnerships to hide debt was a prime example that the leadership failed ethically. On the other hand, for Wall Street, the 2008 financial collapse was a direct result of the decisions made by leaders who were preferring profits over the social responsibility. On the government side, regulation failed completely because government officials did not act effectively for the companies like Enron and Wall Street, and as a result, they were exploiting the legal loopholes. Other than that, organizations which should have held Enron and Wall Street accountable for the mistakes that they are doing were just being passive bystanders instead of taking a strict action against these companies. Since stated that creating an environment of integrity and accountability not only improves effectiveness, but it also creates a respectful and an enjoyable environment. For Enron and Wall Street, everything failed because there were no ethical standards and there was no transparency. Other than that, the laws which could have prevented the collapse were poorly enforced.
Witwalit et al. In 2022 stated that accountability helps to flourish and increase the success of the organization. Keeping this in mind, let's talk about the recommendations that could have prevented these collapses.
Firstly, companies should have internal auditing systems which are completely independent of corporate leadership, which will ensure accountability.
Secondly, government should put heavy penalties on the organization that indulge in unethical behavior.
Next, companies and the employees which are working in the companies must undergo ethical training that will make sure that they focus on long-term success and they avoid unethical, risky behavior. Apart from that, companies should introduce some incentive programs for the employees who focus on long-term success and not on short-term profit. So now I'll shift focus onto my employer and we'll discuss how result-based leadership is applied at the educational center I work in. At my workplace, progress metrics are clearly defined. Student success is measured regularly. Both teachers and administrators are held accountable, and everybody makes sure that students meet their goals. This is a clear example of result-based leadership that focuses on continuous improvement. Curriculum is highly structured and it is consistent across all the centers. Apart from that, our structure is designed in such a way that it aligns with the result-based leadership framework. These practices created a reliable environment with the help of which both students and teachers could achieve results. Other than that, both structure and accountability helped us to maintain consistency and achieve the learning outcomes. One suggestion that I would like to give to the organization is that regular and transparent feedback sessions should be organized in which teachers should know their loopholes and how they can improve. This will benefit both teachers and students' outcomes. So at last, I would like to state that both Enron and Wall Street faced the consequences of not following the leadership policies. Both of them collapsed because there was a lack of accountability and integrity. On the other hand, the organization I work in is deeply rooted and they have a proper structure which helps us to achieve the goals, and continuous improvement keeps us empowered and we get a spirit of keep going. So at last, I would like to say that accountability is a virtue that every organization must prioritize for sustainability and long-term success. Thank you.